Welcome to Fake Love and Flying Monkeys, the podcast where fake love is exposed. I'm Nova Gibson and I am your host. I'm the principal counsellor at Brighter Outlook Narcissistic Abuse Counselling.com.au. This space is dedicated to helping you reclaim your worth and understand the impact of toxic relationships with suspected narcissists. You deserve clarity, healing, and freedom from the pain of fake love and flying monkeys. So please leave a review and grab a copy of my book, Fake Love, Understanding and Healing from Narcissistic Abuse. Let's uncover the truth and take back your power. Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Fake Love and Flying Monkeys. Have you ever wondered why a narcissist seems to want to access your emotions, even after the relationship ends? Why do they continue to push your buttons, draw you back in, or monitor you from what seems like the sidelines, often through their flying monkeys or social media? Well, it's not because they care. It's because they need your emotional responses, like you need oxygen. Well, if you have experienced this, then guys, welcome to the absolutely exhausting world of emotional hoarding. Manipulation tactic that's deeply tied to the narcissist's unquenchable thirst for narcissistic supply. So what is emotional hoarding? Well, emotional hoarding is when a narcissist clings to, collects, or stores your emotional reactions, whether they're positive, negative, or confused, to sustain that inflated sense of self-worth. It's not about love. It is about power and control, dominance, and just power over your inner world. Unlike sentimental people like you and I, who may hold onto memories or keepsakes out of a attachment, narcissists hoard emotions simply to manipulate and consume. They do not want to let go of you emotionally, even if they've discarded you. Why? Because your feelings, especially when they are intense, gives them something they just can't create on their own, a sense of significance. So at the core of narcissistic abuse is their need for supply, narcissistic supply, and that is attention, admiration, validation, and emotional energy, which can also be your negative emotions like anger, frustration, sadness, your pain. But the narcissist supplies needs aren't like healthy relationship needs. They're excessive, they are insatiable, and they are built on insecurity. So there's two main types of supply, as I said earlier, positive and negative. So positive will be flattery, admiration, praise, sexual attention, devotion. And the negative will be things like jealousy, rage, hurt, anxiety, confusion, fear. But both are equally powerful forms of supply to the narcissist. If they can't get love, they'll provoke you to yell, cry, or even beg, because even those reactions to the sadistic narcissist confirm that they still matter in your mind and heart. So let's break down some of the key psychological and behavioral reasons that narcissists hoard your emotions long after a relationship ends, or sometimes even when it never fully begins. Well, firstly, they need to feel important. Narcissists often suffer from this deep-rooted feeling of being inadequate, and they mask it with that act of grandiosity and superiority. So your emotional reactions, even those negative ones, reassure them that They still have influence over you. They are still a central figure in your life, and that they matter more than anyone else. To them, your anger is like admiration in disguise. Your heartbreak, that's proof that they had power. Your silence, that's just a challenge that they need to conquer. Also, they simply cannot self-regulate. Healthy people can soothe themselves when they're upset, but narcissists often lack this skill. Well, they mostly lack this skill. Instead, they regulate their emotions externally through you, through others. When you're distressed, the narcissist feels happy. They feel grounded. When you're emotionally neutral, they panic. By hoarding your emotions via things like guilt trips, manipulation, triangulation, or love bombing, they avoid sitting with their own emotional emptiness. Another reason, well, emotional control equals power. Your emotions are actually currency to the narcissist. The more the narcissist can control them, the more powerful they feel. Ever notice how they start arguments out of nowhere? They say cruel things just to see you react. They randomly ghost you only to hoover you back in later. Well, each of these tactics is designed to elicit a strong emotional response from you so that they can feel like they're pulling on all the strings. Even silence or withdrawal can be manipulated into emotional supply if you are still emotionally activated inside. This next one is a big one. They want to keep you trauma bonded. By hoarding all of your emotions and keeping you on that emotional roller coaster, narcissists ensure that you stay trauma bonded, addicted to the relationship. Trauma bonding is the cycle of abuse when intermittent kindness and cruelty create this powerful emotional addiction. Your nervous system gets hooked on things like anticipating their mood, seeking approval, and avoiding punishment. So even after a discard, they will reach out, or they'll stalk your socials, or they'll send out a flying monkey to reignite your emotional engagement. They want to keep that trauma bond alive and maintain that control even from a distance. You're also a mirror to them. Narcissists do not have a stable identity. Instead, they mirror others. They're like a chameleon. They do this to form a sense of self in a very delusional way. Your reactions provide that mirror. Whether you're loving on them, whether you fear them or resent them, your feelings reflect back a version of who they are or who they want to believe they are. This is why grey rocking, becoming just neutral and so boring, is such a powerful tool. If they can't see their reflection in your emotional responses, then they feel invisible. Here are some of the ways narcissists hoard your emotional responses long after the relationship has ended, or even during really low contact periods. Well, they'll hoover you. They'll suck you back in by just popping up suddenly with messages like, oh, I was just thinking about you, or I miss us, or oh, I'm sorry for everything. I've changed. Guys, it's bait. Once you respond, they feed off your hope, any anger you have, or your confusion. Whether you reply with kindness or fury, it is all about supply. And then there's the flying monkeys. They will send mutual friends, family members, or even new partners to check in, spread rumors, or just to trigger a reaction. This tactic of sending out the troops, the flying monkeys, well, this helps them to access your emotional world without direct contact, keeping them psychologically connected to you. And then there's the social media manipulation. They will post these cryptic quotes, happy selfies with their new supply, or just subtle little digs at your character that maybe no one else recognizes, not because they're moving on, but because they want to provoke an emotional response in you. They hope you will feel jealous, sad, or furious, and that you will react in some way, even if it's just watching their story. Yes, even your views feed that sick sense of power. And the next one that I'm thinking of at the moment is those guilt trips and those fake apologies. Well, narcissists know how to weaponize your weaknesses. We all know that, and your vulnerabilities when it benefits them. So they might say, "Oh, I know I hurt you and I'll never forgive myself," or "You're the only one who ever really knew me." Guys, these are designed to pull you back into an emotional loop, not because they've changed, but because they're running low on supply and they know that you will be emotionally responsive. And what about the old passive aggressive behavior? There's silence, sarcasm, or the cold shoulder. These things can be just as effective as really overt manipulation. Their goal, it's to keep you wondering, worrying, and emotionally activated. As long as you are overthinking or questioning yourself, they are still hoarding your energy. So how does this affect you? Well, let's be real. Being emotionally hoarded by a narcissist is absolutely exhausting. Even after the relationship ends, you may find yourself doing things like thinking about them constantly, ruminating, feeling emotionally drained, rechecking your boundaries if you had any because they eroded them away over time, or wanting closure that they will never give. Guys, these are symptoms of emotional entrapment, a result of being groomed to respond to their every mood and every manipulative tactic they engage in. So guys, there are so many ways, as many of you will know, that the narcissist hoards your emotions, but you need to rebuild your identity so they do not have this power over you. When the narcissist hoards your emotions, you forget who you are. So you have to start rebuilding. Start journaling about your feelings, not theirs. Rediscover your hobbies, your passions, your dreams. Surround yourself with people who do not drain you. Reclaiming your identity means they no longer get to define or shape your emotional world. When you've been abused by a narcissist, they would have hoarded your emotions for months or years. But here's the truth. They no longer have the right to occupy that space. You are allowed to feel without fear. You're allowed to grieve without guilt. You're allowed to celebrate without surveillance cameras on you. Your emotions are sacred. They belong to you and only you. And let that be the foundation of your healing, because the narcissist didn't want to lose you. They just didn't want you to stop reacting to them. And their biggest fear, if truth be known, isn't losing you, sadly. It's losing access to your emotions. And that brings us to the end of another Fake Love and Flying Monkeys episode. I hope you found some valuable information and insights in this episode, guys. Don't forget, if you are going through your own healing journey from narcissistic abuse, I would love to be able to support you one-on-one in a counseling support session online. Please just see my website link in the description, where you will also find a link to my book, Fake Love, available available worldwide. And if you would like to support the channel, every little bit helps, guys. Please just leave a rating and a review and share. Sharing is caring. On that note, it's bye from me for now. Until tomorrow's episode, remember, you are worthy of love, and you are worthy of so much more than a lifetime of fake love and flying monkeys.